At OPPD, we would just like to let farmers know that it's very important that you know about electrical safety when it comes to harvesting your crops. There's an inherent risk and there's dangers that you have to deal with, daily. I'm Steve Newberth and I'm a line technician with OPPD, and I've been around for just about 38 years now. On 2 of my farms, I have a 161 line that traverses the property, and I think it's a benefit to me that I work at the power company. It makes me more aware of the hazards.
Time and being in a hurry is dangerous for both of my careers, basically, because if you're in a hurry doing line work, the consequences are deadly, but they can also be deadly on the farm. And if you're not taking the proper amount of time to do things right and correctly, mistakes can happen, and they can be not only costly but life-threatening. I've been a lineman at OPPD for 25 years. I am now a working line crew leader at the Elkhorn Center. And as far as farming goes, I've been farming with my family most of my life.
One of the first things we do, or I do in the morning, is we got to get these windows cleaned and the tractors and the combines so you can see.
Look up, look out, look around. What does that mean to me? I would say you never know what changes have been made, especially after a hectic storm season like OPPD has had this year. A lot of lines were rebuilt. They might have not been rebuilt exactly the same. So our equipment is getting so much bigger these days. Just because you drove under a particular line last year does not mean that that line is the same height this year. Always be mindful, if you're changing equipment, if you've got a new piece of equipment that's maybe larger, or just if you notice, hey, these guys rebuilt this line last year, this might not be the same. Always be mindful of those situations because things could be different. If you make contact with a power line, just because you maybe brush a pole doesn't mean it's going to break. But if it does break, the most important thing, one, is stay in that piece of equipment if at all possible. Because if that line is laying on your piece of equipment, there is no way to physically tell if that is energized or not. It's going to be hard not to want to get out and to run because we're taught to fear electricity, rightfully, because it is very dangerous. Stay calm and do not get out unless you absolutely have to.
So if I got this combine in contact with a power line today and the tires started the machine on fire, I'm going to tell myself I'm going to have to get away from this combine before I burn up with it. So I'm going to come partially down the ladder.
So it's very important, if you ever have to get out of that piece of machinery, if I'm coming down the ladder, I never want to be in contact with that piece of equipment and the ground at the same time. Because especially if that line is energized at 8,000 volts, electricity looks for the best path to ground. And instead of trying to go through that tire that had started on fire, it might just have chose me. So if you ever have to get off a piece of equipment, do not hold on to that piece of equipment and touch the ground at the same time, because I have a very real possibility of 8,000 volts going through my body. So the key is to come off, and I'm a middle-aged guy, and some guys might be older, but you need to land with your feet as close together as possible. Again, not touching the apparatus anymore. And then you want to keep your feet really close together and shuffle away, not letting your toes get in front or behind your heel so they're very close. But if you're at the apparatus at 8,000 volts, if I take a step like this, there could be a voltage drop of 1,000 volts from this foot to this foot. So that current is going to flow through my body. So that's why it is very important to keep your feet very close together as you go up to 30 feet, maybe further, depending upon soil conditions. Another thing you can do is bunny hop. But always keep your feet really close together.
In a situation that involves power lines, to keep your family members safe, please wait to have anybody come to your rescue until you've talked to a qualified power company employee or 911.
So if your friend or neighbor has made contact with an energized line, it is very important to stay away, because like our distribution lines are 8,000 volts and they might not always trip a breaker or blow a fuse. They could still be energized. And around that piece of equipment, there's what we call step potential. And there's no real way to test that in the moment, because it could depend on soil conditions, how much moisture's in the soil. There's just a lot of variables that you have to account for. So you do not want to go near that, because as step potential goes away from your piece of equipment, it's 8,000 volts at the combine, and it's stepping down as you go away from it. So if you're stepping towards the combine, there could be 1,000 volts difference in between your feet, and that's current flowing through your body, and it only takes milliamps to kill you.
Everybody's susceptible to an electrical accident, so just please respect the power lines in your area, and pass that information along to your help and your family, so that everybody goes home safe and has another year to be thankful for what you've done that year.